Some categories become more optimized, other categories get renamed, and new events are on the horizon. This is your Harry Potter speedrunning community recap for November 2023, brought to you by me. If you don't know about me, I'm Draco Malfoy, and you do well to show me respect by liking the video and sharing it with your friends. Wait, who put this in the script? Goyle? I swear. Whatever. If you don't, my father will hear about this. I'm sorry, it's actually me, Jamie. Still practicing for Henrik's HP2 Reader project. To start this recap, we would like to go back in time, but since there are no time turners left, thanks Ginny, I'm just going to tell you about what happened this month instead. Renee_TFD. The TFD standing for the Flying Dutchman, or as others would say, the funny dude. Regardless of what you want to call him, Renee has everyone way behind him and eating his dust on the HP1 single year any percent leaderboard. In this category extension, the runner is required to play through every iteration of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's... Are you taking the
Mickey?
Nicky? It's Philosopher's Stone, not the Sorcerer's Stone. Anyway, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone as fast as possible, which includes the platforms of GBA, GBC, PC, PS1, and Xbox. Last month, Renee achieved an amazing time of 6 hours, 4 minutes and 47 seconds, which was a whopping 42 minutes and 46 seconds faster than the previous record, held by, of course, Flo, the man whom, if you'd cast Sectus Emperor on, you'd probably bleed copies of all the different Harry Potter games known to man. Not only did Renee beat Flo, an impressive feat all on its own, he actually beat himself not too long after as well. What I mean to say is, in the following weeks he cut his time down by almost 11 whole minutes, setting the current world record to a whopping 5 hours, 53 minutes and 49 seconds. And I'll say big ups to Renee for optimizing this grueling multi-run, and best of luck to him in the future. Moving on from category ascensions to not a category at all. Competitive 1v1 bingo. Yes, I know bingo is in the custom content leaderboards, but there's no bingo dueling in there. To those unaware, speedrunning this version of bingo, runners are pitted against one another to complete various random goals as fast as possible. These goals don't usually have much to do with the normal speedrun routes that you all know and love. Maybe do some duels here, maybe get a few cards there, complete Forest Orb jumping, even clip 15 gnomes out of bounds. Just why? Why would you ever need to know where to find 15 bloody gnomes? You know, despite the feelings of our writer and myself towards bingo, it is actually quite popular amongst many HP2 PC speedrunners, and so Nixo has been hosting a tournament for it, the third thus far. Ironically enough, a retired speedrunner is very good at a pastime usually held in a retirement home. Yes, Complex Beaver, aka Liam, aka Monkey Dude 1616. Wait, his username was once Monkey Dude 1616. Okay, anyway, Liam has yet to lose a single bout. He is probably also the only person in the tournament who knows how to complete every single goal as soon as he glances upon them. But as with all tournaments, there's winners, and then there's losers. Although this was recorded after the events of the bingo tourney, I've been told I'm not allowed to spoil the results as the finals were in December, so if you don't want to rewatch the tourney on Nixo's YouTube or the VODs on Twitch, and you are really patient, you can find out the result on the next recap. But the people who have been knocked out of the tournament in the first 2 weeks are Duke Luke, Gertie, Ex-Jessica 1995, and Miney. We've made sure to hand them participation trophies, brought to you by Skillshare, the sponsor of this video. Sorry, wrong video. After some HP2 PC news, we have... oh look, Nikki, even more HB2 PC news. The All Gold Cards category extension has had its name changed to the Harry Potter Wizard card. This change was made to reflect more accurately the nature of the category, as you no longer have to collect all the gold wizard cards. Only enough that you can perform the new skip found to get the titular character's backdrop of the coveted chocolate frog containers. The current world record is 40 minutes and 28 seconds, held by Dutch speedrunner Dr. Cascanabla. Dr. Cheese Nibbler, who usually goes by his Dutch name, but I've got no time to learn how to speak that made-up Alvin tongue. Sorry, Dr. Cass. But now on to the next point, so we could be done with HB2. Right, Nikki?
Right you are, Jamie. Oh, goody! More HP2! I don't get it! This game is so bad! I really don't understand!
Alright, Nikki. We know you're bad at HP2. It's okay, man. It's okay. Now, where did I put it? Right. Now that our writer is back on his horse tranquilizer, it's time for me to introduce a new collectible in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets for PC. Drumroll, please. Yes, believe it or not, enough runners have been crazy enough to open every single chest in the game for it to be added to the category extensions under the exciting name of chests. There has only been 5 runs thus far, but everyone except Nikki is expecting there will be a lot more soon. The current world record is 1 hour, 1 minute, and 30 seconds held by Complex Beaver, aka Lim, aka, you know what, this isn't funny the second time around. Phew, we're finally done with the HB2 PC news. Not that I don't mind talking about it, it's just that we're running out of horse tranquilizer for Nikki. Speaking of which, he sat down with Hogwarts Legacy runner Wardrums to talk about the new improvements they found across all categories. We'll listen to the most important points right now, but you can check out the full interview by clicking the link in the description below.
So my name is Wardrums, and I speedrun right now mainly Hogwarts Legacy, but I have ran other games in the past. So there's a few categories, and the biggest, or the one that most people have ran, is the first day category, but it's like just a very, very short run of like 35 minutes compared to the full 3.5-4 hour Kill Ranrock, which is the end game boss,
which is like comparable to any percent in other categories, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
In a lot of other categories, you would say, okay, end boss, that's any percent, but that's usually because the credits roll after you beat the final boss. But in Hogwarts Legacy, the credits don't roll until you finished your OWLs done taking your OWLs and the school year finishes, and then the credits roll. But the thing is, to access the end game and the last few quests and the final boss, you have to be level 24. But to finish finish any percent and do the OWLs, you need to be level 34. And it's very, very visible in the current world record times for each of the categories, where Kill Ranrock in story mode is like 3.5 hours, where any percent currently the world record is like 7 hours and 20 minutes.
So it has come to my attention that a couple of improvements were found recently.
But yeah, so the way you get XP in the game is that you fill out the field guide, as it's called, and that you use most of the XP you get is from grabbing field guide pages, either by using Revelio on interesting objects like a suit of armor or a painting or something interesting in the world, or you can grab flying pages with Accio, and that just gives you some XP. And it was found fairly early on, a few months ago, that sometimes these flying pages would give you extra XP, like double XP or something, and we had no clue why. We tried different things to try and see if we could replicate it consistently, but nothing was really working. And then Dix9 found out that if you go back and forth in a certain spot in Hogsmeade, you could you could duplicate some flying pages multiple times. So instead of just giving double XP, you could have it giving 3 times, 4 times, 5, basically how many times you would like XP, which is super useful for a game where you need a certain level.
Yeah, but there's level
Yeah.
requirements. Exactly.
Yeah. We found out that it actually has something to do with loading in and deloading the flying pages and where they were. So whenever you loaded them in, it would basically load another instance of the page on top of it. At least that's what we're theorizing and think that's how it happens. So we found a better spot where if you just like either dash back and forth or run circles over a specific spot, you enter and exit the kind of area where the page is, and it just duplicates. And there's a certain spot in Hogsmeade where it does that for 4 pages at once. And then we also found a similar spot in Hogwarts where it does it for 3 pages, which is slightly more inconsistent. But we also found that you can stand in a spot close enough and then equip your broom, or like jump onto your broom and then jump off the broom, and that also loads and deloads the pages. So yeah, we can do that, and you do that for like 30-ish times.
So how much time does this save for the Kill Ranrock run?
It's a little hard to estimate, but we think somewhere between 5 and 15 minutes, which I know is a fairly big ballpark, but it's also a fairly significant time save. And it's the reason it's a little unclear is because a lot of the pages you would just grab, or a lot of the XP you would just grab along the way when you are there anyway. So it's a little hard to know, okay, so grabbing this page, I went out of my way a little bit to grab it and then ran back. So that's about 6 seconds that took that to grab that page. And then this one takes like 8 seconds. And it's like that all over the place.
Miney from the edit here, just to say that this is only a snippet of the full interview. It was around 22 minutes long. If you want to again listen to the full thing, you can find the link in the description. Now back to Jamie.
Our penultimate point is to discuss Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Oh, now you're using the correct name, Nikki. For the Game Boy Color, the first RPG Harry Potter title has been receiving a lot of development as of late due to the discovery of Ace, which basically looks like the runner's doing a bunch of random stuff until, oh look, the credits, which those familiar with old school Pokemon speedruns can see the similarity in them. I do wonder though if the same could be done for 2 GBCs and we don't have to deal with Ron's bloody backfire mechanics. Which brings us to what my fellow British speedrunner Dino95HD has been doing for the Any% New Game Plus category, where you have had to have beaten the game at least once before you can start on the same save file. The world record used to stand at 1341, but then this happened. As with all things concerning HP speedrunning, our resident Harry Potter game encyclopedia, Flo, has taken the record and improved it by a whole 16 seconds, which is a big deal in a category as short as this one. Let's hope Dino will not throw in the towel and take it back soon. To end things off, Islia took some time out of her busy schedule to talk to us about an event she'll be hosting next year, as well as a different, more personal undertaking. First of all, let's get you familiar with the French runner.
Pas de soucis. Du coup, moi, c'est Islia. Voilà, je suis française. Et je me suis lancée dans le speedrun de manière assez particulière. J'avais vu des petits speedruns à droite à gauche et j'avais retrouvé mon vieux jeu Harry Potter 2, La Chambre des Secrets sur GameCube. Et je me suis baladée sur YouTube pour voir s'il y avait des speedruns. Et je suis tombée sur une vidéo de Flo avec F sur un commentaire de HP1 PC. Et je me suis dit, vas-y, pourquoi pas. Voilà, du coup, on peut dire que c'est Flo qui m'a donné envie de faire du speedrun.
When we asked her about what she'll be doing for the community in the upcoming year, This is what she had to say.
J'avais discuté avec quelques petits runners qui n'étaient pas vraiment à l'aise en anglais, qui auraient aimé participer du coup à des événements. Et je me suis dit, bah, pourquoi pas organiser un événement où on peut tous se réunir, même si on parle pas bien anglais, enfin, qu'on soit pas à l'aise. Justement, se tendre la main les uns les autres et se dire, bah, c'est pas grave, on essaye. Le but, c'est de s'amuser, passer du temps ensemble et prendre confiance. Si on a Flo, Nixo, Dino, Blaze, toi, bah, peut-être qu'on se sentira un peu mieux. On se sentira mieux, plus intégré, voilà, et c'est important. Puis ça sera fun.
But this is not just any regular full series relay race, because some categories are not standard any % categories. And this is the reason behind the choice.
En
Et-
fait, je me suis dit que si on mettait que du NI%, certaines runs seraient trop courtes. Si on veut mettre des petits runners qui ont du talent en avant, une run qui dure moins de 2 minutes, bah, t'as cligné des yeux, tu sais même pas qui est passé.
This event will be putting the focus on including runners who aren't native English speakers specifically. When we asked Islia why that is, this is what she had to say.
Je me suis dit, quelqu'un qui parle pas anglais, quand c'est une communauté qui est pratiquement full en anglais, c'est difficile de s'intégrer. C'est très difficile. Tu vas pas oser poser des questions, tu vas pas oser aller vers les autres, parce que justement, tu parles pas bien la langue ou tu la parles pas du tout. Et t'auras toujours ce petit sentiment de bah, t'as pas ta place. T'as beau faire de bonnes runs, t'as pas ta place. Et c'est dommage. On a des petits runners qui ont du talent et il faut les montrer.
But worry not, you category purists. Islia is actually planning to run full series herself. Let's hear what she had to say when we asked her about this particular thing.
Mais c'est peut-être que la date sera un peu repoussée parce que j'ai du mal à me motiver en ce moment et c'est un peu compliqué. Le moral, tout ça. Mais oui, mais du coup, on avance bien, on avance bien. On a lancé... je me suis lancé ce petit défi, un gros défi du coup, en juin de cette année. Donc juin 2023, je me suis dit, vas-y, je me fais un full series l'an prochain. Let's go. Et j'étais là, bah, je me fais un planning d'apprentissage et je rush. Quitte à apprendre 3 à 4 jeux en un mois. Let's go. Voilà, j'ai freiné. Hein.
The event will be happening in June 2024. The sign-up link will be in the description below, and it will remain open until the end of January. So anyone, literally anyone, is free to sign up regardless of their English speaking capabilities. And that's it. Another month concludes, and another begins. I've been Jamie. I hope I'll still be Jamie after this is over. And this has been your Harry Potter speedrunning recap for November 2023. Make sure to click subscribe and hit that bell and all that good stuff. It really helps the algorithm. And have a wonderful whatever time of day it might be for you.